What you doing? Hi. Everybody good? Let's do what we do, baby. What the fuck? Cool, 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 cool. First of all, guys, what do we want to do first thing in the morning? We want to check our indexes, right? So we got a little bit of gap down in the market. Yesterday was gangbusters trend day. It kind of, so I think it may have caught some people off guard. We were oversold, but the strength of the trend was, frankly, it was very powerful. We got a gap down today with the CPI tomorrow. Let's be a little bit mindful. We may get an inside day. For those of you guys not familiar with the concept of inside day, oftentimes when you have a big range day, oftentimes when you have like such a big range day, you may get a day that's inside the previous day, but it's actually bullish. It's essentially a rest day, and then you end up building up steam to go. Now, that may not be the case. The dip may get bought up here, and you fill up some of this gap, and then we'll see kind of how we act around here. But in the meantime, we do have to kind of give this some credence, which is, we had this big move, and then we pulled back into support here, and we had kind of multiple levels of support into the zone. Now we're starting to hold here. So we'll see what's going on going into tomorrow. Do not be surprised if you see a little bit of a chop fest, especially the first hour. So after you get big trend days, if you don't go red to green, like right at the open, then oftentimes you'll get about 1 hour, 1.5 hours of choppiness, and then you kind of decide to make a move later in the day. This happens all the time after big trend days. People get really excited because they missed the boat, right? You only get 1 or 2 really solid trend days in a week usually. So oftentimes traders will miss the boat, then they'll chop themselves up at the open, trying to get in on the party that they may have already missed. And so you got to always be a little bit mindful, of the first hour today. But let's dig into this. There's some good stuff that we can still be doing here. And the beauty of all of this is the earnings season is starting to pick up. Alcoa is like the kind of official kickoff, but usually the bank stocks are the week before. I believe the banks are all coming in this Friday. So you're going to have, right, Citigroup on the 12th, right? These dirty crooks at Wells Fargo. You can see these are all basing out for a move, essentially. So you're going to have all these banks on Friday. That's the unofficial kickoff. Then you got Alcoa coming in the next week. The earnings are going to start to stream in here. They'll come in a trickle post the 12th. And then about a week and a half to 2 weeks from now, you're going to start to see, right? You're going to start to see the heat of it, the meat of it. And that's where you really want to save your mental capital to like make some moves. Last earnings season was gangbusters. We'll see what happens this one. The market's positioned in a lot different manner than it was, just 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Let's take a look at the earnings plays here real quick. But before we get into that, I want to just take a look at market breadth here. You can see we had a very nice pullback in market breadth down into the 60s on the T2108. That is your measure, percentage stocks over your 40-day moving average. You worked off that extreme overbought condition, right? And you've pulled back here. It's looking pretty good now. Like you kind of came back, got a candle to hold. Same thing on the T2107. That's percentage stocks over the 200-day moving average. You want to definitely see this one up high. In terms of breakouts versus breakdowns, not a big change. We did have this one day where the breakout started to really push, breakdown started to push through, but we did not get a series of them. So I think that's going to be a little bit important too. And you can see here, we've been kind of like not a huge amount of market breadth, but we've been pulling back a little bit in the markets. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a thrust here, but this will be something to watch too. We need to see, right, some broad-based buying to really come in and lift the markets. Let's take a look at the gappers here. SNTG, this is the small bomb from a couple days ago. Hey, this is the sucker's pop, right? When you usually get one of these that pops up like this and then completely fades it off, at some point you'll re-gap, but it's the sucker's gap, right? So that's usually, those end up being shorts. Not that I touch it, but. Oh, Juniper Network. No, it's a buyout. That's something. Hey, Match.com is popping up. They got I forgot there was a. I saw this. There was some somebody's invested in this thing. Oh yeah, old Elliott. Oh, Elliott is a $1 billion position in the company. So 10 billion, so about 10% of the float. Elliott and Associates have bought up. That's usually a prelude to something. You can see here this thing used to be $200. And it might be worth a gander here if there's going to be any liquidity in it. Let's add that in. Potter, you got $4 break right here if you want to partake. Now there's a couple things that happen like when you get the $4 break. I usually don't like to come in on day 3 of a move. Once again, I don't trade small caps, but that's a sweet spot right there if you want to do a little goose and a gander. Watch and see how it reacts around that 4 and the attack on it. You might get yourself a little bit of juicy juice. Now, expects forward on net product sales. So this is essentially they're giving some kind of issue on the guidance. For full year coming, expects revenue 1.1. Hey, you know what? These biotechs may pick up some steam. You got it right at the 200-day moving average. You need to actually break and hold over here, but the float on this is pretty tiny. You got 67 million shares. Add it for now. I don't like this one as much as Match because it's going to trade thin. Like 59,000 pre-market volume is really light. Boyle, this is the ultra short natural gas. Natural gas still in the dumper. This is the long natural gas, I should say. It'll probably fade off around here at some point. Now, this is interesting, right? This is your China Bear ETF. You can see you got a breakout here happening. So even though the rest of the world is catching on, there's some fugazis going on in China right now. China. Right? There's some fugazis going on in China right now. So that's where the weakness is. You can see here. This is FXI. This is your big Chinese ETF, like their Dow. Nasty, right? And then look at it, we're down 2%. Right? Yin is the 3X ETF. Then Yang is the fucking yin and yang. This is breakout territory right here. It's yeah. You can see China stocks are not fun to trade anymore. Like they just don't have the ATR. Look at this Bob. The ATR is like 2% on it. But most of it happens on gaps, so you just don't get any follow through on them right now. But you see here, Bob is hitting really a little bit of a breakdown spot, but it's kind of extended going into it. So if you're curling down onto the breakdown spot, but you run in a few days in a row, you don't always have the same heat. So probably a nothing burger, right? Billy, we got a breakdown here. EDDX is always holding up, but it's just stuck in a range. And you probably assume at some point this will start to curl its way down, but it's just stuck in range. There's nothing worse than range life. So probably, I'd say those are leave alones for now. All right. Old Saidu here. Yeah, this one's just a grinder now. Leave it alone. First ETS, junk. I'll take a look. Let's take a look at BTC in a second, Greg. I get a chat for it. All right, so BTC is starting to push out of the range a little bit. I mean, overall, the trend is still really, really nice on it. A bit herky-jerky for my taste, but you've got you got a decent look on it. I think the one that looks a little bit better is, I added this for a little bit the other day, is this. I think this SOL looks a bit better. Yeah, you got a little bit better location on it, less wiki at the moment. Good. All right, let's get back into this. So now, if we're looking at, these BTC stocks, first of all, coin's been getting just railed on these spikes into 161. So watch and see how the price action starts to firm up around here. We had an awesome short on this yesterday, and I completely missed the long on it. But we've got ourselves a key spot here. We got ourselves a nice spot here where we should be able to, if we break and hold over and build, you got a multi-day range break here that's setting up. The issue is that it's also been getting faded off on these spikes. So ideally, you want to really watch the price action closely as you get into there. Start looking for clues on shorter term time frames to see, right, if you're gonna break and hold. And then it's more if it breaks through on the retest, that'll give you the confirmation that there's actually something working here. But overall, Bitcoin's holding up. And even Maro's got a spot here. I think its daily chart's a little bit better. Well, let me get rid of all these damn lines. Its daily chart's a little bit better because you're over the MAs. And you've got a spot here at 27, give or take. And look at it's been dumping off and there's been some power buying going in. You're talking 22 to 26.60. And then we had a short on this at the open. Didn't even think about fucking longing this thing. I like the quick hitters. I would have probably never held for more than a few minutes anyways, but geez. So I think both of these, we got levels to trade around. So I want you to put these on a focus list. You want to start watching that price action as you get closer to it, right? Especially on this coin, because, if it does bust through, you might get 10 points out of it, one way or another, whether it's a fade off or a bust through. Ooh. I mean, my preference is to let this thing run hot, and then when the Bitcoin ETFs, get all their approvals and stuff, then you come in hot on the short. Junior, Peloton looks okay. One thing I will say is it does not look like your kind of stock. But, you do got kind of a orderly pullback, but it's under that 200-day moving average. You're like penis in between us till you get over there. And you can see it power moved into it and fell off. So for me, I think that's a leave alone till you just get over it. Dang. Hey, Petre, dude, I feel it what you're trying to do. But dude, if this thing ends up getting acquired, say you short this thing and it gets acquired, you're gonna lose so much money. Who knows, right? Because the buyouts are tough, Petres. If you're short and it gets bought out, what do you do? I think probably easier. I wouldn't say easier, but less risky names that probably try. All right, junk. Let's see what we got on the downside. Then we'll go kind of into the regular watch list here. GRFS, small cap. Look at this. This is CGC, right? This is spot stocks. Got a little breakdown over here. If you need a short, that's an easy location right there. Not to mention this company 6. And I think they got a, looks like they got a private placement going. Probably a nothing burger. HPE's moving around because they're doing a buyout on Juniper. But you can see here, it's kind of right in the middle of no man's land. Armando, are you back trading? Are you done with your sabbatical, buddy? Congratulations on passing your test. Guys, give Armando a little high five. He got a job at some trading firm. He's been taking some licenses, which is pretty cool. All right, look at this thing. NKTX. This one had heat. You see this thing, $6, $10, and it even came back to 20 EMA. It had like a really nice push on it. You gotta trade small caps. If you want something that's got like range, like this bad boy. Whew. Hey, you want to try red to green on this? I think it was a little bit more linear than some of the other ones. Might be worth a gander. Good job, bud. Now you can be trading the big bucks. Chunk. All right, cool. Let's get into the regular watch list. And not much going on for regular gappers here, but I think that's going to be the case till about the 12th when those banks start to announce their earnings. So let's take a look here. So you got a couple things happening here. So first of all, you got a trender in the large caps yesterday. You've got a nice tight range here in Microsoft. If it starts to break, you know, Microsoft only moves 1% a day, so you got to do the calls on it. But keep an eye on this. Like I'd set an alert right here. So what you want to do when you look at these big boys is look at it from multiple time frames. So this is a weekly, daily, right? You can do 5 minute, 15 minutes. But you got a spot right here, 376. Man, if it gets even close to that, set an alert. You know, then we've got room down over here, and then it probably breaks. So but you'd have to do the calls on it because it moves too slow. NVIDIA is gapping up a little bit here today, but look, you're at 1, 2, 3, day 4 of the move. Probably today you're going to get a classic either inside day or even a little bit of a dump. If it pushes up higher than this, then probably it sets up for a short tomorrow anyways. I think this is the leave alone today. Oftentimes after these huge days, you know, people come in too hot because they missed that first day, right? And that's now you're coming in the sucker's day. You know, if you come in on the sucker's day, you're going to be the sucker. So just be mindful. You don't want to buy breakouts on day 4, day 5, unless it dips. So like what you want to be doing is watching, like if NVIDIA dips down into like the old flag breakout or right this and retest this daily breakout here, then you could come in, right, and try to participate. Otherwise, you leave it alone. AMD. Man. Yeah, you got room on this one. Not as extended as NVIDIA. So like this one, you know, if you went red to green on it, you still got room to probably top of the Bollinger Band here. So you got maybe a couple points on it. Yeah, you just got to be a little bit careful. This is still day 4. It didn't feel like it, right? Because like the first couple days were grinders. And Meta, you're right at a sweet spot too. You can see here, right? It's probably about 362. The stock has been unstoppable. Old Google here finally had to bounce up the EMAs here. Right, this one's probably the least extended out of the group. This is probably primetime candidate for red to green. Oh. And Tesla's been a big monster, Randy. You did have a green candle to hold yesterday. I would say it's acting very choppy still. Like, so you kind of had 4 or 5 days of just a marination right at the 50-day moving average. You're starting to curl up on it, but the reason it's acting like shit is because it's stuck inside a range. So when you're stuck inside a range, you just are not going to have, you're not going to have this like clean move. So like if you look at the 5-minute chart yesterday, you know, especially in the morning, it was all over the place. You know, it's like it pops down, pops up, pops down, and so it like kind of shakes everybody out and then makes a move. That's going to be natural. It's going to be herky-jerky because it's stuck inside, right, this longer-term range. It's only when you start to clear out over your MAs, you start to have everything curl up. So there's a difference between, like, see how your moving average is just crisscrossing around right here versus, like, right, AMD, like, see all these weeks, like, you've been riding up your MAs. And so what happens is it moves a lot cleaner intraday because you have everything right pointing up. So your trends on different time frames are pointing higher and you don't have the same levels of supply, right? This is a weekly chart. You don't have any levels of supply over. And so you end up having very, very clean moves. When you're stuck inside a range, even though Tesla's like the popular stock, you know, when you're stuck inside a range and your MAs are just flat, people will overly concentrate trades into this, but it's a lower probability trade. So like if you take a trade in this versus something that has a cleaner daily chart, your probability is probably 50% less. And so then you're sitting there, you have to take a lot of trades if you're going to do this kind of trading, because if you just take one trade and it's on a Tesla, it's a very low probability trade because the MAs are just flat. And so you end up getting stuck. And so you want to, it can be a piece of your thing, but you just have to know it's not going to be the easiest type of trade. Right. So like even like this Amazon, I mean, this Apple is like, it's such a tricky one now, right? Because your 9 EMAs down, 20 SMAs down, your 5,200 are rising. So on a long-term basis, its trend is still higher. But on a short-term basis, right, you're still in a much more rangy environment, and you can just see this right from the chart anyways. And so that's why it can act a little bit more shitty. And you see here, Netflix had a huge run. Now it's like giving back most of it. So that kind of puts it back into no man's land. And Goldman Sachs maintains neutral on Netflix. Not really much you can do here. Is like gave back this whole thing. Now you're just back in range. Yeah, I think out of the group, like AMD probably looks, AMD Meta look the best, and then Microsoft's got the most, it's got the biggest base, right? So if you just test that 376 and break and hold, I think you're gonna have yourself, then you're gonna have yourself a way better shot. Whoa, watch this, there it is. Good, 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 good. Yeah, I think that might be the one. Once again, it's really slow. You're gonna have to do the calls on it. Let's take a look. I want to add a couple more names here real quick. Right. I think UPST still sitting on this nice support and it's still oversold. Let's see if we start to curl its way back on this one. You've given back a good chunk of the moves. Affirm is, I think, a little bit different location. It does move better, but a little bit different location than the other ones. I think this, like, even CVNA's got a little bit better location. We'll keep both of those, but I want to add a couple semis in case they go again. So ARM remounted all its MAs here. I think this one's got a shot. You got a nice easy level. It was up 10% yesterday. Well, you tell me, Junior. You tell me. Yeah, let's see. We'll add in a little bit of ARM Nation, I think. Because this one is like only day one of a move, right? So if you look, NVIDIA is day 4. AMD's, right? Could be day 4. ARM, right? Just one big day. A6. I think this one might be a little bit lower liquidity than I personally like, but you could do it. The ATR is only 25 cents. That's always my you tell me, Drew. You've been fucking with me all these years. Well, if you didn't know what this stock was, you just saw the chart, would you do it? You tell me, buddy. Yeah, I take a pass. Hey, Sergey, watch this. Yeah, there's a spot right here, guys. You can add this. Oh, look at old Sergey. Coming out, showing out hard for the Eastern Euros. Oh, das vidanya, motherfuckers. Oh, let's go. So you got 115. Yeah, you got a nice flag break there. I'd add that. I'd add this. You got this 115 break. Let's just kind of firm this up a little bit. Coin 161. Mara, watch this 2650. Microsoft, watch this zone of love right here. It needs an inside day here because you're already had 3 big days. But this thing is looking ready to cook. It needs one inside day, I think. It may go today, but it won't be as big as yesterday. Yesterday was like, right, the big mama jump. And you can see here, you got 328 is like it's top of the Bollinger Band. So ideally, you need one rest day in this thing. Yeah, just keeping an alert out there. But yeah, one rest day or little pull on this, and it's going to set up for some nice castles. Dude, it's got only 50 million share float. The spread on this is a little bit ganar, but you got yourself some good range on it. Let me see. A bunch of people asked about BA. I don't like the location on BA. It could bleed out today a little bit. I just don't like the location when it's just sitting there right at that 50-day moving average. I think that becomes a little bit more tricky because if the market rips, then you never know. Hey guys, keep an eye on this Crocs. It's stuck under the 200-day moving average. Yesterday, they put out their earnings or their guidance, I should say, saying that it was going to be hot. If it rips over this 105, then you got yourself a good spot there. All right. Yeah, 105. I think it's not the first 6 windows layup. I put it on the second one. Because it's just going to trade a little bit thin. This arm looks nice, though. Yeah, you can see some of these bad boys are already opening up. Watch for the red to green. I'm thinking we're gonna get some level of inside day, but I still think we fill a good chunk of this gap. There's gonna be probably a little bit of a pop at the open, and then we may grind around. The second scenario is we grind around for the first, we pop at the open, then we just fade back. And we chop it the first hour, and then we kind of make a push as people position into the CPI. Be prepared for either. You got to be nimble today. Yesterday was the big trend day. Like, don't come in if you missed the boat yesterday, right? Don't come in today thinking you got to kind of make it back. I mean, in the end, nobody ever does that anyways. Won't do that. Let's go do what we do, people. You know what we got to do. All right, let's do the Lord's work in the devil's playground, folks. Hot damn. Hey, Sergey, it's good to see you, buddy.